no, DSLRs are not dead. Well, this comes from someone who shoots with cameras from the last century as well. So, not surprising I suppose, but DSLRs are not just alive, they're actually kind of underrated. Since mirrorless cameras have taken over, the DSLR has become old tech, and what gets labelled as old tech is quickly overlooked because, well, this is a book judged by its cover type of situation. Earlier this year, I examined this by buying the cheapest DSLR I could find in my online shop of preference. So I didn't even bother with the high-end DSLRs, I went with the cheapest one I could find to see how it does. And the result was insightful. The camera was clearly worse than modern mirrorless cameras, however nowhere near as bad that I would dare to call DSLRs dead. Even with this cheap one, I was able to enjoy shooting and captured some nice photographs. However, there was one issue. If you saw the video, you might recall that there was a bit of a battery issue. The old battery couldn't cope with the cold winter temperatures back in January, and so I was unable to shoot after just a couple minutes. And that is why I've decided to give this camera another try, but this time in summer. I went on an epic hike in the Alps to see this border here between Austria and Italy, and used this 23-year-old DSLR to photographically document the day. If that sounds like fun, I invite you to join me. Let's go. So on this fine morning, I drove just a bit down south across the border to Italy because my plan was to climb the mountain from the south side, so back up to Austria essentially. Alright, made it, and it is already looking absolutely insane. As usual, when making these videos, I look mildly over-equipped with 3 cameras, the video camera, the GoPro and the DSLR, and a massive camera bag. The DSLR, by the way, is the Canon EOS 10D, a 6.3 megapixel semi-professional DSLR that was released back in 2003, so that's 23 years ago. At first, I was just aiming to shoot some warm-up shots. I wasn't expecting to find any good photographs just yet, because the lighting was still very harsh and coming from the top, and I knew that the interesting subjects I wanted to shoot were going to be towards the top of the mountain.
You climb so a scene to a version of beyond. Crystal castle in a blue sky. Maybe vision, maybe dream.
The hike began, as many do, in a forest, and then I came out to this open space where I could search for more potential photo subjects now that I could see a little further. Here, I was able to get a shot of the landscape with some other hikers in frame, which nicely adds a sense of scale.
We were all there, and we were all fine, and we were all taken a sweet time, and we were all there, and we were all fine, and we were all
Time for the first snack already. Let's go with this one. I like the framing here with the leaves hanging into the shot from above and from the side. Also, the tree really adds a nice element to the photograph. The shot itself is simply a picture of the pretty path I was hiking, but I think it's these details that make it work as a photograph. Only the lighting could clearly be a little bit more flattering if this were taken later in the day. Here, I came across this little waterfall that I thought was cute, so I tried to get a shot, but the subject and this lighting were not an easy combination for me. These are my attempts. I don't really think they turned out particularly good, unfortunately. While I was at the waterfall, two people hiking down the mountain passed me, and I got shots of them crossing the water, which I think turned out much more interesting than the shots of the waterfall itself. I just like the combination of people in action in this interesting rocky environment. The first half of this year, on this channel, I've been showing you the beauty of Japan, and as much as I love that, I'm also very excited to be back to show you the equally beautiful Austrian and, in this case, Italian Alps. I hope you get to see this too, one day. When that day comes, whether you find yourself in Austria, or Japan, or Italy, you're going to need an easy way to get mobile data. Let me present to you Saily! Saily is an eSIM app that easily lets you choose from several different affordable eSIM plans in over 200 destinations. So when you arrive in the country you're visiting, for example Japan or Austria, you have data. All you need to do is download the app before the trip and follow the instructions to install the eSIM. And then once you arrive in your destination, the eSIM will automatically activate. Also, they've been working on some new features and now also offer US phone numbers via eSIM. So if you happen to be traveling in the US and need not only data but also a phone number, Saily has you covered. Saily is kindly sponsoring this video and has given me a discount code and link to share with you. Download the Saily app and use the code TEODEAL at checkout or go to saily.com/TEODEAL. Thank you so much to Saily for sponsoring this video. I continued the hike and walked on and on. I didn't stop to shoot too often anymore because I knew I'll probably find more interesting things high up, so I tried to simply concentrate on progressing the hike. Here I was getting closer to the massive rocks which appeared to be where I was heading. The landscape was becoming increasingly epic here, with the green grass down here and the massive rocks rising up at the back. Here's a shot I got of a couple hiking with their dogs, which I think turned out pretty cute. This shot sadly didn't work as well as I hoped it would. I actually really like the shot I got on video, however that one was shot on a 20mm focal length. The lens I'm using on the DSLR is a 28mm to 90, so all I could try was to step back a little, but this is the widest I was able to go, and I find that the composition isn't as strong in this version. So as you can see, the DSLR is doing perfectly fine. Despite this camera being 23 years old from the early days of digital cameras, the files are fine. The resolution is a little low, but it's not really that noticeable, and the RAW files didn't feel any different to edit than the RAW files from my modern cameras. I could use the same Lightroom presets just fine, and I think the results look good. Alright, I think we're getting close to the lake and the hut. So at this point I'd come pretty far and I was just crossing into a new terrain. It was around here where the tree line was already below me and even the grass was becoming less. We entered the rocky terrain. There was a little ridge here that led to a sort of plateau, and this path here appeared to lead straight to my goal. From here, the path leads to a mountain hut and a small lake, which I was guessing were both just hiding back there somewhere, and then my aim was to climb up that ridge because behind that ridge there lies Austria. And the ridge is the country border between Austria and Italy. By the way, something you might find interesting is that this area of Italy actually used to be Austria. Many parts of northern Italy were formerly Austrian, however those parts were annexed by Italy in 1919 after World War I. However, culturally, many parts around here remained Austrian, so even now, over a century later, I could just speak with the people here despite not knowing any Italian because many people here are essentially Austrians. Big rocks, eh? Mighty to the hut. Just before reaching the mountain hut, I took some of my favourite shots of the day. I really like how this one turned out. At this point, the sun was slowly getting a little lower, so the angle of the lighting was a bit more pleasant. I like how this shot combines the epic landscape and the small hiker pushing on. Also, I love how the colours and tones worked out here. I went for this bright, airy and kind of soft look, which I think works really well in this shot. I liked it so much, in fact, that I made a new Lightroom preset based on the photographs from this day. It's simply called Summer in the Alps. It's available on my Patreon in case you're interested. On my Patreon I have lots of Lightroom presets and technical deep dive videos for photo editing, colour grading and some broader photo and video related stuff. If you're interested, there's a link in the description.
Told you I would come in there. Sure is the morning light.
I made it to the hut. I took a wee break and enjoyed a treat while eagerly watching the sun gradually go lower and lower, which to me means prettier lighting. I then packed up again and went on a little walk around the gorgeous lake next to the hut. I love to capture the sparkles of the sun in the water, so I try to capture them as a photograph. I think these turned out lovely. I was also meaning to get a couple shots of the hut in this environment. I thought it could make for a cool subject.
I'll just be around.
This closer vertical shot turned out great in my opinion. The lens compression makes the rock in the back look so big that there's no more sky in the shot, which also makes it appear like this giant wall with no end. Also, a happy coincidence is that the lighter grey gravel perfectly frames the hut, which just enforces the clarity in this composition.
Das sage ich, wir sind ja nur zu zweit, nein. Was anrufst oder was?
Spectacularly gorgeous. And one last ascend. Let's go up here to the ridge. I am kind of running out of time, but hopefully we're fast enough. What I meant by running out of time is that I needed to time my descent correctly so that I don't end up hiking down the mountain in complete darkness, because that can be pretty dangerous. And the time was quickly approaching the "at very latest go now" point that I had set for myself. Despite actually being in a hurry, I just couldn't resist to get some shots here and there because the lighting at this point was the best lighting I had all day. Here, I spotted some animals in the distance, ones I don't see too often. In moments like these, the 90mm option on this lens really comes in handy. The shots are still quite distant, despite the 90mm focal length, but I think it's still pretty nice. Seeing as this was a backlight situation, I decided to go with a bit of a silhouette look. We're almost there. Look. And there's the ridge. So, I'm late. But at this point, you know, I can't turn around. We're right there. Ooh. Here we go. This is the border. It's back to Austria. Really, this. I didn't turn around. I don't care if I walk back in the dark. Bloody hell. Why is there no bicycle sign here? Who on earth is dragging their bloody bicycle up here? So that was quite the climax. It was really cool to stand at the ridge and look down into two different countries. I spent some time at the top just taking in the views and got a couple shots, the last shots of this day. And with that point reached, I at last turned around and made my way back down. I think this was another great demonstration to show you that even a 23-year-old DSLR can really do well. I'm overall really happy with the results. I especially like the photographs I shot towards the end when the light was a little lower. I hope you enjoyed joining me, and maybe I could encourage you to not overlook old cameras. Before saying goodbye, I would like to say a massive thank you to the lovely people supporting me in my work on Patreon. Thank you so much to each one of you. As said, if you're interested in that Lightroom preset from these photos or any Lightroom presets, or tutorials and stuff like that, you can check out my page via the link in the description. Also, I have a print shop, by the way, in case that is of interest to you. Also, link in the description. With that said, I hope to see you again soon. Until then, goodbye.